madzima. They say stressless, chimbochila. In the silence, ndichidida. Verse by verse, chichipinda. Ever since Mugabe Junior Shakaoma. Asidai mwari mationa. Mumoyo mangu ndaremerwa. Tell me what to do, ndinoyeza. Got this evidence of Junior.
Welcome. I am back. Who missed me, guys? I have been away for a whole 2 weeks, and I am back. There has been a lot going on. I know Gambakwe has been sharing a lot of stuff that has been breaking news, and I am super excited to be back with you, to be talking about everything that is going on in the healthcare worker visa world here in the UK. So if you're joining me, let me know where you're joining in from. I am here in the UK and it has been going down, guys. I'm really excited to get into it with you. I'm going to be up in the comments. So as you're commenting, I will, if you've got questions, I will try and go through them in this session. But I'm also going to be having another sort of discussion panel over on TikTok. Go over to Letters to Africa on TikTok. Come have a chat with me after this. We're going to be here for about 20 minutes. And then after that, we'll go over to TikTok, which I'm already streaming right now. And basically, we'll have a discussion. You can come up and you can have a discussion with me about what you think about what is happening. So welcome if you're joining me on TikTok. Welcome if you're joining me across the Gambakwe channels, Modern Letters channels, across Facebook and also YouTube. All right, let's dive right in. So there has been some changes to the immigration laws, not just in the healthcare visa, immigration laws in the UK, which are supposed to take effect as of March 2024. Of course, we've got the election happening in the UK in 2024, and we haven't had an election for a while now. So it will be very, very interesting because there has been a lot of political unrest in the UK, in the sense that we had Brexit that happened, that just caused a lot of issues within the country. When you speak to a lot of people, they will let you know that they're just tired. I was having a conversation actually with someone who is from, he's British, and he's just saying, oh, the government, they're just messing up. We haven't had a good government in a while, man. I'm just so fed up. I'm just paying bills after bills after bills after bills. So today I want to talk to you about the reality of living in the UK, what that is like, number one. Number two, the changes in the healthcare visa, and also what that means for you, because I think there has been an over glamorization of coming to the UK, coming abroad to gain back money, to gain back whatever it is that you're looking for. And I think one of the things that we don't take into consideration is what is life in the UK like. So for me, I've been here since 2008. My mom had come again on the similar visa to a lot of you are. She's been a nurse. She's been a nurse for, gosh, how long has she been a nurse for? Over 20 years. My mom has been doing this. And so when she came, she took her a really, really long time to bring me along, because a lot of the times with these visas, either you can come, sometimes you can bring your husband, sometimes you can bring your children, sometimes you cannot bring anyone at all. It's very, very difficult. So when I moved here, I remember I was 12 at the time, and the whole school, the school that I went to, the whole school came, and they said, they were greeting me. They were saying, oh, there's a kid from Africa that has come. They had misspelled my name. My name is Ruvimbo, and they had spelled it as Runbo, which, if you've seen the movie Runbo, that is, as a kid, that is very traumatizing. It was very hard. So I had to let people know, no, that's not how you pronounce my name. Anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. But just to give you a bit of a picture, like as a child, it was very, very difficult to adjust, because people don't realize that there is still such a thing as covert racism. Covert racism. One of those two words is what I'm trying to say. it has skipped me, but it's one of those two words. It's still there. It still exists. You still now have a lot of organizations who are admitting that their contribution either to institutionalized racism, whether they're admitting to the fact that they have been involved in like I remember recently there was a what's called a McPherson report, which the police force in the UK were investigated, and it was seen that they have high levels of discrimination, especially in the from a racial point of view. But not only that, they are sexist. This is what the report said. This was a very early report that they did, and I found that very interesting, that there is really no way you can come to the UK and say you are free. People don't want to hear that. And the reason why I was waffling, because I wanted to get to that bit of like saying, coming to the UK, you're not 100% free, because one, a lot of the times when you come on a healthcare visa, you come and you're working. I was watching a couple actually who came, lovely couple. I will need to link them up, because they are sharing their experiences of having moved from Zimbabwe to come to the UK and what they're finding. So with this particular couple, actually, just to give them as an illustration, they came recently in the last couple of years. They are living separately. The mom is living somewhere else, and I think the father is the one that stays with the children, and they get to see each other maybe once a week. So the mom gets to see her children once a week. I personally don't know what kind of life that is. That reminds me of colonization. That reminds me of the separation where our parents, our grandparents had to live kumusha in the rural areas, whilst the father was in the city and he was working. That separation of the home, we don't see how much of the psychological damage that does to us. One of the stereotypes that most Zimbabweans are known for in the UK is that they are single mothers. That is not a good reputation for us to have as Zimbabweans. And so I wanted to start off with that, because I think it's really important for us when we think about these changes to recognize that whilst it might sound like we're gaining a loss, but I also feel in this loss is going to push us to find our own resolutions, right? Okay, so let me read this update. There's been a lot of difficult conversations around this, by the way. I want to hear what your thoughts are around this, because there's been a lot of difficult conversations happening around this. And I want to go through what it says in here. Oh my days. Okay, I had a good article for this, so let me just go there. So let me read this. The Home Secretary has announced a plan to slash migration levels and curb abuse of immigration system, delivering the biggest ever reduction in net migration. Together, this package will mean around 300,000 people who came to the UK last year would now not be able to come. The package of measures will end the high numbers of the dependents coming to the UK, increase the minimum salaries that overseas workers and British or settled people sponsoring family members must earn, and tackle exploitation across the immigration system. So one of the biggest challenges that the UK has been facing, especially when it comes to this immigration issue, is that there have been people who have been taking advantage of the people that they're bringing. So those companies, I remember a lot of people were asking me at some point, oh, do you know a company who can find me a sponsor? And I didn't know any at the time. And part of me is kind of glad, because a lot of stories of people, the things that people don't tell you about, they don't share, is that there has been a lot of abuse from sponsors. So people stealing fees. And I actually saw a great article from the Independent on this. Sorry, I should have actually had this beforehand, but praise God for your patience. Because I want to share this with you. So there has been reports. So Daily Mail was reporting that some of the visa schemes are linked to abuse, fraud, trafficking of children. And this has been happening a lot, where you find yourself in a situation where someone says, hey, I can sponsor you and you can come along, and then you find yourself in a very, very tricky situation. A lot of people have been finding themselves in a lot of tricky situations. So the UK is somewhat responding and saying, okay, we recognize that there's a lot of crime happening as a result of this opportunity we've opened up. So we're going to shut it down, or we're going to make it a lot more difficult for you to be able to use this. So what is this change? What does this actually mean? So they're saying that in order for you to come to the UK to get a visa, you need to have a job that is going to be earning you around 32K. Sir, where have you put this information? Okay, so it's gone up. So from next spring, the government will increase the earning threshold for overseas workers by nearly 50%. They didn't even say no, we'll do 10% or we'll do like 15%. They say we're going to go all the way 50% from its current position of 26,200 to 38,700, encouraging businesses to look at British talent and invest in their workforce. I watched a video of an employer in the UK responding to this. They said the local people don't want to work. They don't want to do this type of job. See, the reason why they started employing from abroad is because if you're African, if you're Asian, you've had a different upbringing, so you're willing to do this type of job because of the background that you have, because of how desperate you are. You're more willing to look after old people. You're more willing to do the care work that a lot of people in the local areas are not willing to do. But then one of the challenges that they were given, they said, well, you're not paying them enough. So if you're coming from abroad, if you're coming from what they call a third world country, one of the things is you're saying, I'm really, really desperate. I need money. So you're willing to take the very bare minimum that they're willing to give you. But the local people, they say, no, you're not paying enough. The money that you're paying is not enough. So we're not going to work those jobs. So they resort to overseas workers. So now they say, because of what the government has done, they're being forced to get the local workers. But it's true, the local workers don't want to do those jobs. So it's going to be very interesting next year to see what is going to happen. I mean, people in the UK, they protest. I think you're going to see a lot of protesting. There's already rumors that there's going to be a lot of strikes. We've already seen in the UK a lot of train strikes with train conductors striking because they were not getting enough pay. That has now been settled. Now the drivers are striking. So the first week of December, the drivers were just striking left, right, center. If you were traveling, just forget about it. You're not going to travel anywhere because these people said, no, we're not going to work. You guys have to pay us more. So there's a lot of discourse right now in the UK. A lot of things are not settled. And I think this speaks to the fact that if you are thinking about coming to the UK, maybe you can afford what they've said here, where they've said the previous position was you needed to be earning 26,200 a year. Now you have to be earning 38,700 a year. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. Sorry, I'm just really shocked. I'm just really shocked. So you need to be earning 38,700 a year for you to be able to come. So when you do come, let me tell you something. The reality of this type of salary, it's not easy to earn that type of salary. It's really not easy, especially if you're coming on a visa for healthcare. They're not paying that much. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen? So it will be interesting to see if it does come into effect, what that looks like. Someone is just saying nothing to panic. It was just a proposal. I have a feeling they're going to do it. I mean, it all depends on who ends up coming into power as well. Some of these things change depending on who is power. Some of these things are political acts and political statements to shake the tables because we're gonna be campaigning soon. Campaigns have already started. This is why I'm a huge advocate about upskilling yourself in other ways. Technology companies are employing right now. I actually know, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is starting who is basically starting a social media app. He's in the works of doing that, and that social media app is going to be launching in January. Great guy. He's employing a guy based in South Africa. That guy is a Zimbabwean guy, and he was a huge advocate for employing Zimbabweans. He said, "Oh, I absolutely love our Zimbabwean developer. We pay him. He works in South Africa. He's always on point. He delivers." So we know as Zimbabweans, especially as Africans, we're hardworking, and companies are willing to employ us. So we need to find other ways to earn money that is not just reliant on having to travel somewhere else. Because I'll tell you the truth, a lot of people in the UK are living paycheck to paycheck. What does that actually mean? It means that your salary comes in, they've already taken off tax, they've already taken off national insurance, and usually, depending on how you're earning, it's obviously kept based on that, right? And then, okay, so that's happened. You're paying for what, depending on how you're living as well. If you're renting a flat, you're probably paying for council tax, you're paying for water, you're paying for gas, electric, TV license if you have a TV. I've had visitors, they've come to check, have I got a TV license or have I not? So they're on it. I think someone was saying on TikTok, living in the UK is just paying bills. You go to work to pay bills. Even if you say you want to save, okay, fine. It will take you a long time to get to a place where you're comfortable. So I'm not trying to discourage people from wanting to come to the UK, but I'm just saying, don't be discouraged by the changes that are coming and saying, "Oh, I can't bring my family anymore," or "It's really difficult for me to go to the UK." But understand there are other ways. Us as Africans now, there's opportunities coming our way that we need to lay a hold of. If you've got access to the internet, if you've got access to be able to upskill yourself on digital tools, this is what I'm always advocating for. It's really important that we be equipped for next generation jobs. At some point, it was great for us to be doing healthcare jobs, but if you're young and you have the ability to learn some skills from free resources online, make the most of it. Learn how to use these social media platforms, learn how to code, find grants that are going to help you on your journey. It's really, really important, because I'll be honest with you, with the digital space, ecospace that we're going into, I was talking about this in my previous live, actually, that they're creating digital workspaces that I can be here in the UK working for a company in Saudi, and I can go virtually into the virtual office using my virtual reality glasses, and I'm at work. So gone are the days where we have to leave our countries, leave our homes to be successful, to earn a living. Again, going back to the friend I was talking about, he was saying, the guy that we employ, he lives like a king, because the salary that he earns a very high salary which obviously in the UK, the salary there, the salary that you earn in the UK matches up with your spending, your lifestyle, right? But if you live in Africa, actually the spending is a lot less. So you're earning a European salary, living an African lifestyle, and the gap is massive. So you've got more money to play with, more money to invest, more money to invest in a side hustle, whether there's a side business, and all of these things. But the thing is, because one of the things I've noticed is, as Africans, they've put a veil on our ability to know what's available to us. They make it seem so difficult. No, you guys need us. You guys need us for you to know how to do it. No, the internet is free. Google is free. Google actually has what's called Google Garage Google Garage? Is it Google Garage? I'm gonna have to find you a link. But yeah, and also these links, by the way, all the stuff I'm talking about, you can find it on my website. It's all free. You can go on there and you will see, let me just put it up, modernletterstoafrica.com, all the links of how you can, where you can apply for remote roles, where you can, things that you would need to do to prepare yourself if you wanted to start a business online, what that would look like. But I think we need to be thinking about this. Sorry, I'm looking at your comments as well. Health and care visa has been exempted from that salary for 37K, but they say care workers will not be able to bring dependents. Yes, absolutely. That's interesting to know. I'm gonna have to look into that a bit more. But yeah, I'm agreeing with about the dependents, that you can't bring your dependents. I did hear an argument of people saying, well, what kind of life is that you like? Okay, you're coming to the UK to look after the dependents of this country, but you can't bring your dependents. Like, when I heard that question, I said, oh, okay, that's serious. So I think it just, someone was also saying that this is also young people's game. Like, if you don't have children, if you don't have any responsibilities, then it makes sense for you to do this. But guys, live your life. I'm not telling you what to do. I always get comments of people saying, leave us alone. We're gonna come and see for ourselves. Like, I'm not saying don't come. I'm just trying to say, like, this is the reality of everything. Two things will happen. Either employees will increase the salaries. The government wants to make sure of that. Intentional workers already in the UK are employed first. Okay, I think I get what you're saying there. Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see, though, if employers will increase the salaries. I think a lot of employers have been struggling with their bottom line. I think that's also a huge factor to consider, that due to COVID, although a lot of companies made it, but a lot of companies went under, and that also had a ripple effect in a lot of profit for a lot of these companies. So I'm just reading your comments. And we need to upgrade our countries. That's the only solution. Yeah, I agree. I think we need to do more for our countries. I think we need to be putting pressure on our countries to have better infrastructures. We need co-working spaces for young people in Zimbabwe. I would love to campaign for that, to see co-working spaces that are going to help people. I'm also trying to find, there's a lady in the parliament. I am really, really sorry. I've forgotten her name. I feel really bad that I've forgotten her name. But I only got to know about her recently when I was watching her video in the parliament in Zimbabwe. And she was basically asking about, what the government is going to do regarding some of the kidnapping and some of the things around, that some of the kidnappings that are happening, asking for answers. And I think we need more people like her. We need to raise up more people like her to advocate for some of the things that are going on the ground. There was also another gentleman who also challenged and said, and asked and said, they are areas in the country where they're mining rare earth minerals, all these things that are benefiting China, that are benefiting. I'm gonna get blocked the moment I just uttered the C word. They're gonna shut me down. They've done this to me before. So if you don't find this video afterwards, I have been shut down by the powers that be. But the C country, they are obviously benefiting by the tech industry, America's tech industry as well. All these technological advancements are literally on our backs, but we're not seeing the profits in our countries. We're not seeing the profits in our children, in our hospitals. These are the things that we should be seeing benefiting us. But yet we're seeing the West thriving from these technological advancements, but the very people who are providing the raw materials are not benefiting from them. Those things wouldn't exist without those raw materials. If we didn't mine those raw materials, then we wouldn't have mobile phones, we wouldn't have laptops, we wouldn't have all this, that we're doing now. Someone says it's modern day slavery. They come to Africa in the past and picked able-bodied men and brought them here as slaves, living their children and wives. Now they're doing this again in a clever way. Mike, I am right there with you. They call it neocolonialism. That is exactly what is happening. Absolutely. And the thing is, when are we going to realize that we actually have more power than we think? We have more power than we think, but I think we underestimate ourselves a lot. Like, we underestimate our ability. Like, if the whole of Africa was to unite and stand up and said, listen, it's time. You guys have had your time. You guys have prospered. It is our turn. Please, thank you. On that note, it has been great to chat with you about this. I do want to come back next Friday and talk about next steps. What do we do next? What should we be advising young people to do? What are the options? I'll be looking at grants. It's been on my to-do list to talk to you guys about the different grants that are available that you can be applying to, whether that's for education. There's different contracts as well that different organizations are allowing you to bid for and things like that. And you can do this all remotely and digitally as well. It's been a slow season just because it's been a very busy season as well. But I'll be putting more links and more information on the website, but there is already sufficient information on the website already. So do go have a look at modernletterstoafrica.com for all the links in terms of how to apply for remote roles, starting a business online, and things like that as well. And I'll be coming to you with more very soon. It's been great to chat to you here on YouTube and Facebook. I will be coming off YouTube and Facebook now, but I will be over on TikTok. If you want to come and share your thoughts with me, want to discuss this more, want to talk about solutions, and just discuss this a bit further, I'll be over on TikTok. And to find me on TikTok, let me just put it on here. Letters to Africa. I am live right now, so you'll be able to see me there. If you are on TikTok, do request. I can bring you up and we can talk about this a bit more. But look forward to seeing you next week.